Hello everyone and welcome to this Andromo review video. Today I'm going to be talking you through everything you're going to need to know about Andromo, and as usual, if you do have any questions, please leave them in the comment section down below. I'll also be leaving a discounted link in this video's description so that you can always get your money's worth for Andromo. So Andromo basically is a site that allows you to monetize your mobile app without having any prior knowledge of coding and without having to implement those monetization features using code. So we have our main page here, and basically it gives you a few tutorials and a few promotions, and then on the left we obviously have our calendar, our servers, our mobile app, things like that. We have a few links at the bottom, but the main page that we want is under this easy start area. Basically it asks you to create a new project, and when hitting it we're going to call it project 1. Now, you can call it whatever you want. However, when you're in, this is where things start to kick off. Now, you have a few tutorials on the left, an option to follow them on Telegram, watch more on YouTube. You can go into what's next, so you can add monetization, customize themes, and things like that. But you can also build pages on your app as well. So it's really, really great. It's not just a monetization platform, it's actually an app builder, and you can really get a nice look of the actual user interface of the app and things like that without having to know anything, as I said at the beginning, without having to know anything to do with coding. So the very first thing that we're going to do is have a little look down the options on the left. Now, under components, we can have a look at all of these different parameters that we can look at. We can look at monetization, media, layout, buttons, and all things like that. And these are a few of the things that you're able to add to your app. So you have YouTube, where you can stream a YouTube video directly on your app page. You have an audio player, more online audio players or PDF documents, things like that. If you go over to layout, for instance, you can add dashboards or groups or more page viewers. If you scroll down a little bit, you can add native ads, which allow you to add these into your app to gain money. You can have buttons such as location, so you can add any location to the app, so people can then obviously link this to Google Maps or Apple Maps or whatever they're using. Add your phone number to the app or add your email, all different things. And to implement one of these, for example, email, you would hit the little add button next to it, and that would then pop up on your app. So we would then put hello@gmail.com. And when that's been added, we can change the mail card, we can change the subtitle or the description. So my email is listed here, and we can then change the subtitle to my email. And when that's done, that will then have added, as you can see here. And when you click on it, it will obviously come up with a little bit of information. So it's really easy to actually configure all the different options in this app. It's a sort of matter of click, edit, you're done, and that is sort of it. And that is the same thing that applies to all of these features here. You're able to change your color palette. So for example, here we have a large amount of ones that are already pre-made for us. However, you are also able to make your own custom palettes as well. But by clicking one of these, it will change every single color that you've got on your site to what you might want it to look like. So as you can see, the more I click, the more it does. So if I go for this one, for instance, I quite like this layout with a navy blue sort of at the top and a deep black in the middle. That is very simply how you would add a style. But you can also change component card views, app bars, and draw menus to change sort of the titles and things of different headers on the site as well. But moving on to the settings area, you're able to change the app name, the app version name, all this, nitty gritty stuff that you might want to add onto your thing so that people understand more about the software. So you can change the icon that appears on Android and the icon that appears on iOS on the actual App Store itself. You have navigation bars, you can rate us, things like this. You can have a launch notice, so enable this to show a message the first time the app is launched. And obviously this can be used to comply with Google's advertising disclosure policies and things like that. License agreements, consent forms, and things like that. Sort of the boring stuff, but the legalities of it, obviously you do need to get legalities out of the way when you're releasing an app. There are a few things that you do need to go for. You can also enable monetization, so you have all of these different options here. You have splash screens, ad mobs for Facebook, Android, all these different things. Start.io, AppLovin, AdMob, Facebook, and AppLovin again, but for different platforms, Android and iOS. Then, under the services area, we're able to track and measure analytics. So enabling these analytics allow us to basically link this with Firebase. And using this, enable Firebase authorization, you can then link this with your statistic page on Firebase and get a little bit more insight into who's using your app, who's actually on it, what it's for, clicks, engagement, all things like that. Moving down, we have e-commerce. Now, this is if you're linking it with Shopify. You can link your app itself with the Shopify settings. So you can enable Shopify here, and then you can link your store. This will obviously take you externally to the app, where you obviously have to log in, select the store of which you want it to add to, and do that. And the same exact thing applies to WooCommerce, where you're able to enter your store key or your store URL, your consumer key, and your consumer secret. And when all that's done, you can edit a few more settings and basically have your web store integrated into this app really, really easily, just by entering 3 copy and pastable pieces of text. So that's really easy to do. And it's great that it has it. You're able to obviously get more people to buy from downloading the app instead of just accessing your site or shop from the website that you already have. Moving on, we have the build thing. So you do obviously have to save your changes to the app for these few sections to work, which, as you can see, is this button up here. So if you want to, we'll just save nevertheless. That's what we'll do there. But you can obviously view it on mobile and either turn this on and off. And when you have saved, you can either, so basically this is where you will publish it and where your build will be created. So general android.apk. APKs are the Android application files. So these are the files that every app that you have on your Android device will be taken from. If you have your phone, any application that you download, you can download them off the Play Store or the internet. This is the thing. So like an EXE on Windows, Android supports APKs. However, if you're then talking about an iOS phone, for example, an iPhone, these are the things that will use the Apple iOS thing. So you will need to get one of the Apple program files, which you're able to obviously publish on here as well once you've created your app, but that is what an iPhone will support. So it's really great to be able to have those two options, because sometimes Apple don't let anything on the other site, or people only seem to publish on one or the other. Not all the time, but sometimes that happens. So it's nice to know that you have both options to reach pretty much 100% of the smartphone market. Obviously, there are a few that don't use it. For example, Huawei phones obviously have Google Gone now, but it's great to know that you're able to publish out to a wide audience. Under images, as you can see, you're able to download images to actually put onto your website. So if we just do this very, very first one here, so as you can see, if we were to download this first one here, this would download off Pixabay, which is the one that this is linked to, and then you'd be able to import it into here. And once you've all done with that and everything's been added that you like, you can go ahead and hit save, and it will save your entire thing. So you also have components. Now, this is a really easy way of managing the sort of hierarchy or the layers of your actual app. So under the dashboard, list group, and mail card, this is where everything is basically a layer tab. If you think of Photoshop or an editing software, things are layered in a specific way. So the dashboard underneath it has a list group, which are these basic things here, these little boxes, and then the list group consists of numerous cards. And the one card that we have is a mail card. So as you can see, clicking on these allows you to edit the individual properties to do with that. So as you can see, column count would be 2, but we can increase this to 3 if we wanted to, all the way up to 5 to make small little icons on our page. And that's really, really nice. But you can also go all the way down to 1, and this would basically allow you to change the links and obviously the characters of your site into a much better form factor. So if you didn't want them big on your screen and everything, you'd be able to shrink them like so. And naturally, when you're done, you can hit build app, and this will immediately take you back to the build page. So it's basically where you can go ahead and publish. And all you would need to do is go all the way down, make sure that everything is obviously fit. And once you've done that, your app is pretty much ready to be published. And then if you wanted to, you could head back to your projects page, which basically is where you can view all of your projects in one place. You can either favorite them if you have a large amount, you can edit them, copy them, you can make an announcement or add them to your hub, and you can also delete them and check the version of that particular project. But that is more or less it for Andromo. So why might somebody want to use Andromo? And as we know, building an app typically will require a lot of knowledge in coding. And coding is something that not a lot of people know. Although it's a very typical and very important thing for people to know, some people don't know how to code. Some people won't know how to code in Python and things like that, and therefore creating a website for their business, even if they really need one, can therefore prove quite difficult, unless you obviously hire in people externally. That can get a little bit expensive, strenuous, you have to manage them, you have to organize times and things like that, but the main aspect of that is definitely the price. And hiring freelance, developers in to build you a website for you, you don't have that much of an input as much as you would if you were hands down creating. You do get a a good input, don't get me wrong, but the input that you would get if you're able to create it all on your own and really efficiently is obviously higher because it's coming from you and not from someone else. And therefore, being able to build something without any knowledge of coding and just having an intuitive way to, move all your aspects of your website around, know what you're looking at, know what you're looking for, get these images here, get those squares there, make sure everything's organized in a seamless fashion is really, really good. So would I recommend Andromo? And the simple answer to that is yes. It's very easy to use. I would highly recommend it just because of the amount of features that it has built in. The project management is really, really good, and the ability to overall publish it on every platform is also something that I have to commend. So overall, I would definitely recommend Andromo. Thank you everyone for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.